And when I came off of that tour, I started to continue to make my album and looked at it and went, well, I've never really plugged any other guitar into it. And so I plugged every other guitar into it, and I realized it was really well defined as the amp for the Super Eagle guitar, but hadn't really gone through the R&D stages to become a full-fledged kind of take-anywhere, catch-all amplifier, which is ultimately what I'm into. You know, we're looking for an amp that stops the hunt for amps. So many variables going all the time. What amp should I use? What guitar should I use? What cabinets? What speakers? And I'm looking to sort of stop that search. You know, do you want to get the amp you love? It starts to define your sound going forward, and that's what I was interested in doing. And so then we started working on really honing in the amp to be able to get my sound with my own music. And that got really fun, and we were able to include this new dimension of sound without losing the original sound that I had going with the Super Eagle guitar. And it made perfect sense to offer it. Once we had discovered how to get that sound, it made ultimate sense to bring that to other people. And as I mentioned before in a different conversation, you know, I'm sort of interested now in killing this idea of like the unicorn gear. The gear that only exists in your imagination. 4 people have it. I heard the last one that came up went for $7 billion. You know, they found one at the bottom of the ocean. You know, we want to sort of stop that thinking, because what I want to do is inspire guitar players not to believe that they're limited by their ability to get an amplifier. The idea that, well, there's this other amp you can't get. I'm trying to sort of bring it all into sort of accessibility for people. And that is now why we're looking at a JMod 100, which could be a JM overdrive or a John's mod. So I kind of like that portmanteau. And it's usually about this part when I hear myself babbling that I realize I'm done talking.
Do you think you could show them what
Sure.
that tone was for the Dead and Company?
So the magnificent thing about Jerry Garcia's playing and his music, which still lives on every day, is that where's my cable? Do you have a? Oh, there's. Is you have to be able to have such articulate single notes that you don't need to go anywhere else. So where we are here, let me just get the right sound. Is I'll turn down. That's one note. And most guitars won't allow you to sustain that kind of focus in terms of playing it and people going, wow, there it is, you know. But we had to develop it so that all these great lines, you know. It has to be able to sustain that. Otherwise, if you play that on a guitar, you pick up most guitars, it just goes flum, 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 flum. And it has to have that intrinsic sort of joy sound to it. And you get that from a longer scale length, and so it's also very, very clean. Let me get a little more out of it. Even striking the string, you get this really tight percussive thing, which you have to have for that music, you know. When the tone is right and the feel is right, then your timing is right, and your focus is right, and it's the most satisfying experience. We've all had really satisfying experiences playing music, and really confusingly disappointing experiences playing music. There's been jam sessions you walk away from and you go, I'm nothing, I can't, and there's good nights and bad nights as a human being, but what I'm seeking to do is try to eliminate all the variables in gear that we're not really sure why they happen, but when you put the guitar down, you go, that was not a thrill. And when it's a thrill, you don't have to play that much. Mm-hmm. And that is only all I'm after now. Maybe it's because I've had such experiences where I'm really going for it. When the tone is right. Now, if you were playing in a gig, and
The brake switch is up.
right?
That's a right on.
Oh yeah. And the band is playing. Dum, 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 dum. That's all. For me, I'm looking for the tone and the feel. That's all I need to do. Huh? Now, the thing the amp does is it's compressing in the exact amount that allows you to keep a bounce going on the guitar. And it's a really great sort of rhythmic bounce if you've got distortion on. I can accompany a drummer with this amp because I can just. I promise you most guitar amps will not be stiff enough in the power section to be able to. That's a dirtier version of it. You put a different guitar into it, you put a Strat into it, you're going to get the glassy, clean funk thing. You put a Gibson or a anything with PAFs. 594, we should plug a 594 in this thing, you'd hear it. It'll respond beautifully to kind of each tone you put into it. And I'd rather let the guitars be the different voice for me personally.
So they're grabbing a 594 right off the wall, John.
Let me put the strap on it.
That's ballsy.
When Paul handed me the 594 in a hotel room, and I hadn't even seen it, didn't have a number, it was a prototype, and I plugged it in and I went, all I'm looking for is this. The only reason I started playing guitar is because I wanted to sit alone in a room by a window, much like a day like today on a rainy day, and be able to just trip out. Ever since I was 12, I was like, I just want to be able to sit and do that. And I still try to find that zone. And when I got handed the 594, so it sounds like a hollow body, right?
Sounds like an old guitar.
Yeah,
right off the wall. That's good, right? Yeah, I should give John a hand for having the courage to do that. I love playing left. You can just. It's like a drum set.
I mean, forget about all the stuff you'd be able to do if you were jamming. I just don't love playing hyperactively without a band. It doesn't, you know, it's the sound of NAMM. It's the official sound of NAMM. But you know, the hyper like jamming with the band of gypsies in your mind. But that's what I'm looking for in my career and my playing now is this beautiful. You want to be able to make a note, you intend to make a note, hear the note, and go yeah, and then reinvest that joy into the next note. That's what it's about.
So, John, I have a surprise for you you don't know about.
Okay.
Okay. So, I was born in 56, so debatably the greatest year of vintage guitar is probably around 1958, but I was in diapers. I didn't get to make guitars for Hendrix. I didn't get to make guitars for the early Allman Brothers. I didn't get to make guitars for the Beatles, okay? But we're making guitars now, and our industry is built on extraordinary musicians that become legends, all right? Behind you, this is Mark Tremonti's guitar that he played on My Sacrifice. This is Carlos Santana's touring guitar. This is one of your other touring guitars. This is the guitar that Neil Schon uses in Journey every night. So they're sitting right behind you, and what's different is when you walked up, you just thought it was some of the other guitars. Yeah. They look so similar to what we normally sell, and that's one of your Dead & Company guitars, right? This is John McLaughlin's guitar that he's been touring with. Yes, they look at the look on his face now.
Well,
right?
yeah, I mean, come on. Man, that's taste. My goodness. Wow.
This is Jack Fowler's guitar from Sleeping with Sirens, and we've got Mark Holcomb's guitar from Periphery on the end. So these are guitars that are becoming legends in our lifetime.
Well, thank you.
And we included your guitar in that batch, so everybody should give John a hand for being in there. Isn't that great?
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. So you're releasing a new CD as we speak today.
Yeah, I'm putting it out 4 songs at a time. I think it's time for music to catch up with the way that people consume things, the way that television and movies have, and it seems to be working. So the first wave of songs off a record called The Search for Everything came out last night today, and I'm having fun knowing it's out in the world. It's not a secret. Anybody here make records? There's tons of people here make records. Yeah, I mean, there's a moment where it goes from being something that kept you company to belonging to everybody, and the moment where it passes over is thrilling and frightening and moving, and the idea now that these things that were in my head are now in other people's heads. It's amazing. The most incredible thing was I played my own record last night off of like Spotify, and I went, "Well, this isn't off a Dropbox anymore. It's just easier to hear my, I don't have to get it through." It's amazing. You work, then somebody emails it to somebody gets the master off, and then it's on iTunes, and you go, "Oh, it's everybody's now." So it's been a really fun day, and this is an awesome part of it too. I wouldn't want to be doing anything else on a release day.
So this is the press for our industry, our guitar industry, our amp industry. And we don't get an opportunity very often to do this, John. So from my heart to yours, thank you so much for coming. Everybody should give him a big hand for that. So with that, this is a press conference.
Yes.
Why don't we take 2 questions and then we're going to be done.
Right on.
Yes, right here.
Huge fan, obviously.
Thank you.
And I'm a female guitarist. Any advice for females who are actually trying to be good guitarists in this industry?
What an absolute landmine of a question.
So you need to repeat it so everybody knows.
She said, "I am a female guitarist, and what advice do you have for female guitarists in terms of getting better?" There is absolutely no way to answer that in a way that, I mean, I would love, if it were you and I hanging out, I would like wager some guesses, but I think this is the same for everybody. I have to imagine the ergonomics are the same. You could tell me, do you feel like there's and I'm not trying to corner you, do you feel like there is a natural difference that, like, would the guitar be thought of as a sport in the sense that females have a different ergonomic or pressure sensitive thing they're doing with the guitar, or no?
I think maybe it's more the idea of a woman playing something in the shape of a woman's body.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, there you go.
Paul, are they comfortable for a woman?
Look, there is a record being released on Steve Vai's label today of 10 female guitar players, one her.
Yeah.
You got to remember, Rhonda Smith has been through 3 Jeff Beck tours. This thing with female guitar players in Prince's band is getting stronger by the day.
And I'm seeing it on Instagram. And Instagram is, Twitter is a place for humor, and Instagram is a place for, now with the minute-long video, it is a place for musicians to get heard. Not even so much bands. It doesn't work. You can't really get a song onto Instagram. So what people are really making the most of it with are playing guitar. And I search. I've said this before. I search my name on Instagram. It's the only search I do is of my own name on Instagram. And I do other searches, but the only search of my own name is on Instagram. And I'm seeing dozens a day. I'm watching every single one. So just if there's somebody playing guitar and they're very obvious thumbnails. You can see the way that it looks when someone's playing. If someone's playing the guitar and my name is in the hashtag, I'm watching it. And I'm seeing more female guitar players. I wish I knew them by name, but there's one girl who plays incredible. She hangs out in front of a Led Zeppelin album cover on the wall. And forgive me for not knowing her name. Maybe throw it in there if you find it. And she's playing great. She's playing great. And then I introduced you to a girl who's playing great. I mean, moreover than females, I look at it more like young people playing the guitar. There is no reason culturally right now for a young person to play guitar just based on reading sort of what's culturally on the surface. That speaks to the power of a guitar that once you find it, you go, I gotta do this. And I'm seeing now, if we look at everything in sort of a plantation system, we're looking at the seed that started maybe 5-6 years ago, people wanted to get back into guitar. And we'll look at them right now as in the middle process of not having record deals yet, but not being beginners. They're all on Instagram, and they're playing great. They'll cover my song within 12 hours, within 2 hours of my putting a song out, and have it down. It really is very inspiring, and I'm not sure how this plays out into the market sort of aspect of things and metrics, but in terms of the art form, I think it's completely alive and well, and that's why that's why I watch Instagram all the time. I love watching people play. Mateus Sato was here. He's playing his ass off. He's one of the best guitar players around. And his stage is Instagram. He plays his own music and he plays in Tori Kelly's band. But where I found him, he sold one of the guitars he plays to me. I bought it because I watched him play it. That power is still there. The power of watching another guitar player and going, oh shit. Or the power of watching a guitar player going, what pedal is that? I went and saw Michael Landau play the other night. Phenomenal guitar player. I just sat there. I drove myself in the middle of the night to go sit on a stool alone and watch Michael Landau play. And I want to know what pedal he's got. And I've been doing this for a living for a long time, and I've got a lot of pedals, and I want to know what he's got. Yeah. So it's alive and well, and I just want to know now if Paul would ever think of making a breast-sensitive guitar. Have you thought about...
No, so what you don't know is when we came out with the hollow bodies, all these women started to buy them because it was ergonomically sat well with them.
There you go.
The little hollow body that we make.
Yeah. So can we now say that all PRS guitars are universally fitted?
Next question. Yeah, right here. Nice and loud. Last question.
What's your favorite Dead & Company song to play? And get a few notes if you could, please.
Absolutely. I would say that there's so many that, I guess part of the fun of it not being my music is that I don't have the relationship of having labored over writing it. I don't have any notions. I'm not clouded by the frustration of what it was like to write it or produce it or record it. So I look at it as these incredible sort of like jungle gyms to play on, And I love the ones that have grooves built in, like the ones that I was playing. I love He's Gone. Oh, I need the Super Eagle if I can get that.
Let's see, because I don't know what you like.
I've unplugged things.
I'm an expensive roadie. I'm doing a good job.
26 years. So all the stuff that goes, these great songs, great songs. Every guitar player, every musician in the world should learn. They're almost like standards, There should be a Grateful Dead fake book, real book, whatever. These are things you could play on for days. But this, like He's Gone, as it goes. do that all day. So much swing is implied in that riff, and you have to play it with the implied swing, which is really so that's one. And I every time I'm playing it, it's really interesting. I've never actually said this before. I'm just thinking about Jerry every time I play. I sort of I factor myself in, or him into me, or me into him, or something. And I just thought of it right now as I was playing, because I'm in such the mode of putting out my own music, that when I'm playing this stuff, there's not a second that goes by that I'm not thinking, is this all right, Jerry? This is cool?
Yeah.
This is what you would do?
Yeah.
This is like somewhere in the zone? Are we on, like, there's a really interesting thing that I just realized happens now, where it's like, everything is run through this algorithm of, is that? It's like a soul circuit that it goes through for that one person. It's a really interesting job to have, if you think about it, as an artist, is to be yourself, but also play in the intended spirit of something. And then there's also, on a rhythm level thing, in terms of getting a feeling across. You play that for any Grateful Dead fan / Deadhead, and they will know exactly what that, to be the power of music, that you can imply what's going to come for the next 15 to 20 minutes, and what it means. You hear every lyric, every chord change, everything that's about to be, everything based on, you want to be as a musician, you want to be that. You want to get it down to. It's deceptively hard to play. It seems like it's just an F chord, but you got to play it with some sort of sweet, a sweetness, a sad sweet. I would think if you were running everything through the Grateful Dead, the Jerry Garcia sort of prism, it's a sad sweetness. I think that's what we love. That's what I love about it. That's sad to me. That sounds sad to me. It's hopeful, but it's still sort of sad. So all that single note stuff, which this stuff does.
So, John, thank you very, very much for coming. Everybody, if you could give him a big hand for being here. Thank you much. Well done. Well done. So, I now call this 2017 PRS press conference to an end. Thank you very much for coming. Bye-bye.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Thanks, you guys. Very cool.